What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another great episode of Symone with the Sports. I'm Symone, bringing you guys daily sports talk. So if you're new here, if you're old here, you haven't already subscribed to the channel yet, stop what you're doing, leave a comment, subscribe. Also, turn your notification bells on so you won't miss a single video or a single live stream. Today, I have a very special guest. You guys have probably seen him on Bleeding Green Nation, but I'm going to let him introduce himself. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Hey, Symone, thanks for having me on. I'm SHAMUS CLANCEY. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SHAMUS_CLANCEY. You can find my work at bleedinggreennation.com, libertyballers.com, doing a little bit of everything for SB Nation and the Philadelphia sports realm. So glad to be here. Philly sports guy. Ready?
For sure. A Philly sports guy. I always like to bring someone new in to give a new perspective and a different take, of course. So I got to start off by asking you right now, at the time of this recording, the Eagles are 6-7. Another season where we're like trying to claw our way in the last 4 games into a wild card spot, all too familiar. So what were your expectations going into this season, and did they exceed, meet, or not meet your expectations?
I'd say meet is pretty apt right now. I thought they were a team that obviously had a really front-heavy schedule. So the losses they picked up early in the season were to be expected to a degree. I know people probably had differing expectations based on this season, kind of a transition year, reload, rebuild year, whatever term you want to have and use, depending on your connotation and host for the specific season. But I think you're really about where you'd want to be starting to be, around 6-7, have that late season NFC East schedule for your late playoff push, pick up those divisional games, those important conference wins for tiebreaker situations. And hey, I thought the Eagles might go 9-8 and win a weak division, or in a situation now where Dallas is kind of running away with the NFC East, have a chance to grab one of the last wild card spots in the NFC, where the team that gets that 7th seed isn't going to be a very good team. Just by default, someone has to get that seed. Someone has to get that playoff spot. Someone has to go on the road that playoff game. Someone not have it beat the Eagles.
Definitely. And it's the same for me. I'm always optimistic. So going into the season, sure, especially off the DeVonta Smith high, I was like, okay, we're going to be, in my mind, a great season is always at least 500 or winning. So I was like, okay, let's at least, we had a lot of drama in the offseason that's going to spill into probably the early parts of the season. We had a very hard schedule, in my opinion, especially front heavy. So my goal was to at least be 9-8, and we're still on track for that. We are. I mean, we got one wiggle room of a loss. But after that Falcons game, because I live in Atlanta, so I was at the Falcons game. It nice. Really messed up my vision of what the season could be, because we came in, smacked the Falcons in the mouth. You know, we scored 30-some points, held them to about 10 points. So then I was getting elevated, smelling this season, and then we got humbled really quick, really fast. So I'm not disappointed in the season at all, because we have a very young team. A brand new coaching staff, so I wasn't expecting us to really be a threat, but it's always the goal to get at least a wild card spot.
Yeah, I think going to the playoffs is a successful season for me. Obviously, it's different based on the season. Just say for the 2018 season, coming off the Super Bowl, just making the playoffs probably wasn't the ideal goal going into the season. They did win a playoff game. They did have some fun. That was a fun season. But get what I'm saying, just for this specific season going in, saying, hey, we have a rookie head coach. We have essentially a rookie quarterback guy who started 3.5 games essentially last year in his rookie season, Jalen Hurts. Getting playoff experience for that guy, the quarterback, for the head coach, for all the young players on the team, your Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, DeVonta Smith, all of those players, getting them that experience would be huge. And, I don't think you have maybe a definitive answer on the Jalen Hurts quarterback situation the way you might have wanted to have this situation solved by this point. Thinking back into July, August, hoping by December, what you truly have in Jalen Hurts. So I think that might be an issue for people where they don't consider it a successful season because they don't have a true answer at quarterback. But yeah, I always want to see the Eagles play in the playoffs. That week, that excitement for the fan base, for myself, for everyone is palpable. And I just adore it. I love the energy in the city during playoff weeks, during playoff season, during that playoff push in December and January. So I'll take it right now. I wish we might have seen more development from Jalen as a passer this season. Obviously, the Eagles absolutely shifted their offensive philosophy very run-heavy attack, something you almost see at a service academy college school like Navy or Army. It feels like they're ripe to run the triple option at some point. So we really haven't seen development from Jalen as a passer the way you'd want to. I think you have a true answer at quarterback, as I said earlier, but it's been a fun season. The wins have been great. I went to the Saints game. I have season tickets. That was, the most fun I had to link in years and years. And, watching different games. The Lions game was a hell of a lot of fun to watch. And I expect this playoff push to be fun to watch as well.
So what do you think? What are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts? Do you think we roll with Jalen Hurts as a starter next season? Do you think we're going to sign someone like a Teddy Bridgewater who could come in, automatically be a starter, maybe have Jalen learn behind him? Or do you think we go in the draft and try to get a replacement for Jalen Hurts?
I'm not huge on this draft class for quarterbacks. I'm not a true draft junkie, true scout guy. So I can only speak to what I see, what I read from people I respect, and what little film and videos that I watch myself. But this quarterback class doesn't really truly do it for me. The Eagles do have 3 first-round picks. So if it was a situation where this was a loaded draft class, the Eagles would have had the opportunity to package those picks, move up, and get the guy they wanted. But no one in this class is really sticking out to me. What I would do this offseason, I like Jalen Hurts as a person. I think his ability with his legs and dynamicism is evident and really obvious. And I would like to see him developing a little bit more as a passer. So, I don't think necessarily he earned a true franchise quarterback billing, but I think I'd be able to roll with him for 2022. Maybe you flip one of those draft picks for a future first-round pick in 2023 to give yourself some optionality and flexibility. If you do want to go and get a quarterback the following offseason, I'm not in a position where I don't want to trade for Deshaun Watson, given all the legal ramifications and just the personal aspects of that. I don't think Aaron Rodgers want to come to Philadelphia, and I don't even know if Russell Wilson want to come to Philadelphia. And hey, he's getting older and he hasn't played well this year, and even behind a poor team there, I don't know what he's essentially going to do coming to Philadelphia in a situation that isn't tremendous in its own respect. So I think rolling with Jalen for 2022, hoping he takes another little step, having guys around him take a little bit of a leap as well. And you hope and say, hey, if we gave him 2.5 years almost, this isn't it. We're free to move over. We gave the guy the shot. It's just not it. That's where I'm at here. The Eagles aren't in the most envious of positions when it comes to their quarterback situation, but it is what it is. I think I roll with Jalen next year and just see what happens. Pray and hope that he develops as a passer, as a pocket passer, his accuracy improves. Because I think that's the major issue right now is his accuracy as a passer. And obviously that's an important part of playing quarterback in the NFL, and that's an issue. Your team has a lot of issues, and you've seen that's why they've struggled to throw the ball this season in a bunch of different games.
Definitely. I agree. You hit all the nails on the head. One, Jalen Hurts might not be our quarterback for the next 10 years, but given the circumstances, I do think he is our best option for next year. Because like you said, the draft is not giving any NFL-ready starting caliber quarterbacks. So we already have a project in Jalen Hurts. If we draft somebody, that would be another project. So while we throw away a half worked on project for a project we have to start with at ground zero. And then the trade options, of course, Deshaun Watson is just way too many variables with him. Russell Wilson is aging. I went to NC State. He might not claim NC State anymore, but
he's Wisconsin. He claims Wisconsin now, right?
Yeah, like he shows us a little love, but he be showing way too much love for Wisconsin. So I'm about to cut ties with him soon. But Russell Wilson is not going to want to come to the Eagles. If he goes somewhere, he's going to want to go to a team that's built to win a Super Bowl and is only missing a quarterback. And Russell Wilson isn't a long-term option for, I think when we look at quarterbacks, now we have a young team, a young core. We have to look at a long-term option. Russell Wilson is about to be out his prime, so I'm good there. And same with Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to want to come here. He's going to want to come to a win-now team. Then free agency-wise, the best option of free agent quarterbacks is going to be Teddy Two Gloves. And I'm fine with getting someone like Teddy because I believe in every room you got to have a veteran, and we don't have a veteran in the wide receiver room, and we don't have a veteran in the quarterback room, and we've seen some struggles in the passing game. So I think we definitely need to bring in a veteran quarterback, not necessarily to overhaul Jalen Hurts, but he has to have somebody to learn from in the room. The best free agent option in my eyes is Teddy Bridgewater, who would probably come in and beat Jalen Hurts out if it was an open competition. But I don't see the draft, and I don't see us trading for a quarterback either. So, I mean, like it or not, Jalen Hurts is what we have going into 2022.
Yeah, and I would be surprised if the Eagles didn't make a future trade come draft. I don't expect them to take 3 players in the first round, whether that's trading back this year or probably likely accumulating future picks, because they obviously don't seem too sold on Jalen Hurts, and it's hard to be completely sold on him as an NFL thrower at this point in time. So I think they will give Jalen that optionality to say, hey, it's either make or break or 2022. If this isn't it, you're either going to play out the rest of your contract here as a backup, or we're going to flip you for a future draft compensation. We're going to go get our guy in 2023, whether that could either be a guy they're drafting in that year, maybe a Bryce Young for Alabama, depending on how well or poorly the team's playing, or maybe there's a veteran we don't even know yet that's going to be available come the 2023 offseason.
Man, if we traded back, got Bryce Young, that would be such a slap in the face.
I would take it.
That would be
I guess because the Alabama. I mean, I take him, but the Alabama guy aspect, I'm sure Jalen would feel a little slighted there, right?
I know, but the Alabama boys been working out for us lately. Landon's been playing good. DAVANTE, I'm good with rolling with the Bama boys. Yeah,
I agree completely. They haven't. I think DAVANTE was their first Alabama player they drafted in the Howie Roseman era. Surprisingly, like that just almost seems impossible to do for the most premier, prestigious, accomplished college football program in the 21st century. But that is the Eagles for you.
So when it comes to the draft, that's your ideal scenario. Because I was going to ask you, what's your ideal scenario with 3 first-round picks? Is it trade 1 for the future, or what is your goal for those 3 picks?
Yeah, I'd trade 1 for the future. I don't know which of the 3. Obviously, we have to see how things settle. The Eagles, I think, are slated to have the 10th pick right now. Miami's probably around the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th pick. I know that Colts pick that it's likely to convey as a first runner now because Carson Wentz reached those snap count requirements, will probably be in the early 20s if the Colts make the postseason. So the Eagles' earliest pick, I'm really set in. I don't necessarily think he will be there. I think he's a definitive top 10 pick. And it looks like at this rate, the Eagles aren't going to have any top 10 picks. Is safety Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame. He's a bit of a do-everything safety. Is kind of just the perfect epitome of what you want a modern defensive back 7 player to be. And the Eagles have a glaring hole at safety. We looked at how remarkable Malcolm Jenkins' tenure in Philadelphia was, where he was a guy that did a little bit of everything and was a huge defensive leader, the heart and soul of the 2017 Super Bowl team. And to get a guy like Hamilton, who was plug and play, and I think a guy who could be a Pro Bowl caliber player almost immediately in the NFL, that would be a dream situation for me. I think safety is one of the most important positions on the field. I'd really say it's more important than cornerback and linebacker, just opposed to edge rusher in terms of defensive value by position. So getting someone like him would be really the dream to me. And again, I don't know if it's possible. I wouldn't be in the business of trading up and giving up draft position for safety of all positions. Now it's like you're kind of only really want to do a big trade up if it's for quarterback of sorts. So if that was a guy that was able to fall to him, I'd be over the moon. But they do have optionality. There are a lot of talented defensive players in this draft, and the Eagles definitely need to add some more talent, infuse some more youth on the defensive side of the ball, because they do have some young guys on offense. You have Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, DeVonta Smith, Dallas Goedert entering his prime, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, and we'll see maybe what you have in. Yeah, maybe you see what you have in Jack Driscoll or, all these different pieces. So getting some youth on defense would be great.
Yeah, my goal, I love Kyle Hamilton. I've looked into him a lot. They're saying he's one of those, they love to say this about guys, but he's one of those team changing, once in a generation safeties. But they said that about Michael Parsons and he panned out. So I don't know. It's going to be tough getting Kyle just because of our draft, but Kyle is definitely my dream player. Last season, it was Jamar Chase was my dude I wanted. This season is definitely Kyle Hamilton. But if we can go all defense with our 3 first-round picks, I think we should just go best available, in my opinion. The biggest hole, of course, is D-line, linebacker, and safety. They say we haven't drafted a linebacker in the first round since the 70s, and we've been sucking at linebackers. So I feel like 1 + 1 = 2. We need to go ahead and get a first-round linebacker.
There is definitely a talented linebacker in this season, and if it was a situation where the Eagles only have one first-round pick, maybe you don't want to use a linebacker there. But when you have that plethora of picks there, and you have a huge hole in your defense, and you see the way a lot of talented young linebackers across the league in the modern NFL are making immediate impacts, maybe it does encourage you or promote you to take a chance on a linebacker you really believe in, who can affect the game in multiple ways, whether it's rushing the passer, defending the run, dropping back the pass. Again, a guy you want to be as versatile as possible is the name of the game with the modern NFL defense. You want guys who can do everything.
Definitely. So my perfect scenario off-season wise is to go all defense. Now I'm stingy. I'm not trying to trade back, okay? I'm trying to keep all our picks, go all defense, and then with our free agent money, get a veteran wide receiver. So what do you want the Eagles to do free agency wise?
I'm definitely all in on getting a receiver. I did some running about this a few weeks back, that there's definitely a talented wide receiver class this year. You have Chris Godwin, he's going to be a free agent, who I think will sign elsewhere just because of how expensive that Tampa Bay roster is. You have someone like Allen Robinson, who played at Penn State, who's never played with a really talented quarterback in his career, who I think is set to blossom in a new location. So there is talent to be had. You have Michael Gallup from Dallas, who I think will get priced under there because of how much money they spent on Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, and then they have CeeDee Lamb stepping up. So he might be the odd man out there. He might be a guy who's not going to command as much money as a Robinson or a Godwin. So he's a guy I think coming to Philadelphia, steps in here and is the number 2 option right next to DAVANTE, and ready to make some magic, catching the football, having 2 talented wideouts for the first time in forever in Philadelphia.
So Michael Gallup is your guy?
Yeah, I think he's more of a realistic target than Allen Robinson or Chris Godwin. I don't know exactly where those guys want to go, and the Eagles do have a plethora of cap space to use, and people usually follow the money. So if the Eagles are willing to sign the check, I'm sure they'd like to come here. But for a value guy, a guy who's going to make some money, obviously, but maybe not as much as those tier 1 wide receiver free agents, I really keep my eye on Michael Gallup there.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be Allen Robinson because, like you said, we haven't seen what Allen Robinson can do with a talented offense, a talented quarterback. So, but of course, Allen Robinson is going to be a hot commodity. I think there was a lot of trade buzz going around him before the trade deadline. He didn't end up getting moved, but I want a big body X receiver. That's something that we haven't had since Alshon Jeffrey. He hasn't been healthy when he was with us. So I really want Allen Robinson. I think Jalen Hurts would thrive off having a big body, contact, catcher, a receiver you can throw open, because that's one of the biggest things people keep saying about Jalen Hurts, not being able to throw a receiver open. But I think if he has a big target like Allen Robinson, then he will start to look a little bit better. So Allen Robinson is definitely my guy. So lastly,
there's talent to be had, and I think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's talent to be had at receiver, whether it's in the draft or free agency, and I expect the Eagles definitely to, add to their young core, whether it's DAVANTE, they still like Quiz, they like Jalen Reagor. I know most people in Philadelphia don't like Jalen Reagor, but I would expect some more talent to be added to the roster at the receiver position come 2022.
Hopefully, God willing. So let's talk about our free agents. We got a list of undrafted free agents. I want to know, lastly, who you would re-sign and who you would not re-sign. So let's start with an obvious one, Steven Nelson.
It was a nice 1-year signing. I don't know what he can command if he's going to get a multi-year contract. I know the Eagles would probably like to get some young cornerback talent on the team, but I think you could do worse than him as your second cornerback. The Eagles have gotten tremendous veteran play from the cornerbacks this season, with Darius Slay having improved immensely from his first year in Philadelphia in 2020, playing like the Pro Bowl player he was during what we thought it was his prime with Detroit in the late 2010s. And hey, maybe Nelson does want to come here. Maybe the Eagles do want to pay that money. Maybe it's a guy who sits out for agency for a while because the Eagles didn't sign him until late into the summer. So it could be a situation where the Eagles wait and see what they have at the draft. They take a cornerback early. Maybe they don't want to have Steven Nelson, but it comes into June, July. They're sitting there. They need talent at cornerback. Maybe an injury pops up and they do end up signing him. So he's a guy I keep my eye on. I wouldn't be out there trying to sign him the first day of free agency hits, but definitely a good guy to keep his number in your back pocket, so to speak.
Agreed. Derek Barnett.
Let him walk pretty easily, right?
Yeah, pretty easy. I've said enough about Derek Barnett.
Yeah, I think everyone has, right?
Anthony Harris.
Hasn't been as good as I expected. Another guy who kind of did a 1-year veteran deal with, kind of hoping that he hits on it. Hasn't really hit on it for me this year. Definitely a guy I don't see coming back come 2022.
Agreed. They really. Anthony Harris was one of our first signings, and we didn't think we were going to really do anything in free agency. So I think we were just excited we were able to do something. Then he had the ties to Jonathan Gannon. So we were all like, oh, you know, he played with Jonathan Gannon, that connection. And then we were like, oh, we signed him for cheap. Like, we got a diamond in the rough. But I'm good on Anthony Harris. Rodney McLeod.
The injuries have really piled up for Rodney over the years. He's getting older. Obviously, a guy who was a Super Bowl hero, played really well in that 2017 Eagles season. So not a guy I really want to wish for him to go away and sign somewhere else. But probably at the stage of his career, his age, where the Eagles are going, trying to get more youth on their defense, probably time to part ways. But again, it could be a situation where he stays a free agent into March and April, and the Eagles don't really like what they get in the draft and safety position, and then they end up signing him, come later in the offseason.
You breaking my heart right now. This is the hardest part of like being a fan. Like when it's like with Deshaun Jackson, like that time is done, but it's just you don't want to let him go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Rodney McLeod's barely been available for us. And like we said, that's somewhere we want to go ahead and hit the refresh with somebody like Kyle Hamilton to get younger. This was a pretty obvious one. Jason Kelce.
Well, he has a blank check. If he wants to keep playing, I could see him definitely retiring this offseason. But if he wants to play football again come 2022, easily signing him to whatever he wants.
Brandon Graham.
We'll see what happens with his contract this offseason. Obviously, coming off a huge injury, especially for a player of his age, and Achilles injuries, huge can really sap him as a player. So I believe he's 33 years old. So we'll see. I think if BG wants to be back in Philadelphia next year, he will be. Definitely doesn't want that to be the end of his career. For a guy who's one of my favorite Eagles ever, I don't think the franchise definitely holds him in high esteem, and they don't want him to go out that way either with a season-ending injury. He essentially will miss the entire 2021 season. Got that injury in the middle of the Week 2 game at home against San Francisco. So I think he'll probably be back in Philadelphia next year, but he might not be the same Brandon Graham we've been accustomed to the last few years because of his age and that huge injury he suffered.
Hassan Ridgeway.
If he wants to come back on a vet minimum deal, maybe, but I think the Eagles are definitely going to add some more defensive line talent in the draft and probably an odd man out come, roster cut downs.
Yeah, agreed there. Jannard Avery.
I doubt he'll be back in Philadelphia. He's played a little bit this season, did okay, I guess, in that kind of hybrid linebacker defensive end role that Jonathan Gannon's instilled in his defense, but not a guy I'm prioritizing to get back in midnight green at all. And
lastly, Ryan Kerrigan.
I forgot you almost forget that he's even on the team. So
right.
He can go scram. Yeah, he's definitely not going to be back in Philly.
Yeah, I doubt it. I thought we was going to be seeing a little bit more of him, but yeah, like you said, keep forgetting we even got Ryan Kerrigan. That was another signing, of course, that had a lot of buzz around it, but
yeah, name brand player, guy who's made some Pro Bowl teams, terrorized the Eagles some points in the season and his past playing for Washington. So you're kind of amped for that. You have to take these 1 year home run hits trying to swing for the fences and didn't really land those ones. So it is what it is, but Steven Nelson hit, so evens out, right?
Yeah, Steven Nelson was definitely a big hit, and that's somebody we were all tweeting at and wanted to come to Philly, so I'm glad he panned out.
Definitely.
Well, guys, this is SHAMUS CLANCEY. Again, let them know where to find you. You're writing articles, you're podcasting, tweeting, doing everything when it comes to Philly sports.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SHAMUS_Clancy. For all my Eagles writing, you can check out bleedinggreennation.com. For my Sixers writing, you can check out libertyballers.com. I host 2 different podcasts on the BGN Radio Network, so you can find Bleeding Green Nation Radio on your Apple or Spotify podcast feeds. Subscribe on there. They could find our YouTube channel and put all my podcasts on YouTube. So just look on my Twitter. You'll see everything I'm doing, and check me out on there.
Definitely check him out. Check out the podcast. Great listen and always great reads on bleedinggreennation.com. Y'all know I'm Symone Stanley. Make sure you guys like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and turn your notification bells on. And let me know, of course, what you want to see in my next video.